Hey, music lovers, welcome back to Bloody F Mess Official for yet another true tale regarding the world of music. First of all, I hope all of you are well. Thanks for checking out this video. Please subscribe if you get a chance. Leave a comment if you want. And maybe at the end, like it or leave it a thumbs up, please. Tonight, I'm going to talk about the red-headed stranger, the man known as Willie Nelson. Legend. Who doesn't love Willie Nelson, right? Most of my friends, whether they're heavy metal, punk rock, rock and roll, blues, or country, they like Willie Nelson. A whole lot of them do. Very diverse crowd of fans that Willie Nelson has. And back in 2003, I got to actually meet Willie, and it's a kind of a funny story. I want to say, I've been a fan since I was like a little kid in the 1970s, and I first saw Willie Nelson on the tour where he was doing On the Road Again. I believe it was 1978. That was the first time I think I saw him. It was at the Illinois State Fair. Maybe it was 79 or 80. But anyway, I've seen Willie many times in my life, but I only really got to meet him one time. And he had just released an album, which was also a TV special called Willie Nelson and Friends Live and KICKIN, 2003. He basically did some great duets with people like ZZ Top, Steven Tyler, Ray Charles, Eric Clapton, Elvis Costello, Leon Russell, who else? Norah Jones, Paul Simon. And the album came out and Willie went on tour. And having been a lifelong fan and having known that he was going to be at the Peoria, Illinois Civic Center Theater on November the 9th, 2003, we thought we would get on there. So me and Sister Tracy, being both big fans of Willie, we went down there. It was freezing. It literally was freezing. 32 degrees is freezing. I did a deep dive today on Peoria, Illinois weather history. Yep, they have that kind of thing. And you can look up any date and verify any weather on any given date in whatever year. And so I remember that night being real cold, and Tracy said, "Are you kidding? It was freezing." Well, it literally was freezing. We went to the Civic Center Theater early, maybe 2 or 3 hours early, like a while, to try to meet Willie and get a photo with him. That was my goal. I want to get a picture with Willie Nelson. You know, fanboy here. So we get there early. The bus is right there. We're like, yeah, but I'm not going to be rude and go knock on the bus door or anything like that. I'm not like a stalker. But I thought, well, sooner or later he's going to walk off that bus, which is directly across from this Civic Center Theater door, and he's going to walk from there to there. And I thought, pretty easy, situation. But what happened was it was freezing. Me and Sister Tracy waited outside for a couple of hours. And next thing you know, we were checking the weather, and with people, it was like freezing. And she was like, man, I can't hang. It was like to the point of like I was shivering. I was wearing a leather jacket, much like this one. And I was definitely not dressed for winter and not thinking I'd have to wait that long to meet Willie. Well, everyone was filing into the Civic Center. And, during that time, legendary harmonica player Mickey Raphael walked off the bus, and he came over and talked to me. He was super cool. He signed a copy of the Outlaw CD featuring Waylon and Willie and Jesse Coulter and Tom Paul Glaser. What a great album. And Mickey Raphael, man, what a legendary harmonica player and longtime member of Willie Nelson and family. He was super nice, man, and he's been on so many legendary recordings. Shout out to Mickey Raphael. What a dude. Also, legendary drummer and longtime family member of Willie Nelson and family, Paul English, stepped off the bus, and I got to chat with Paul for a bit. That was super cool. Again, he signed my copy of the Outlaws CD in which he appeared, along with Mickey Raphael and all the other legends. Of course, I lost that CD and that autograph in the Alameda fires from 2020. Just another one of those grim reminders of something cool I lost, but hey, I'm past it. But the memory of this night was awesome, man, because it was freezing, and we were getting harassed. Like, all these security guys were telling me, "Hey, man, get away from here." I'm like, dude, you don't own the sidewalk in the city here. And they're like, "You're not going to meet Willie, and you're not going to meet Willie." And I kept hearing that, and I kept thinking, Yeah, I am. And so I figured persistence usually pays off. But it was getting kind of annoying. It's like, dudes, quit, man. But in the interim, something really interesting happened. I cannot reveal her name, but a female that was very close to Willie Nelson and the family. I can't say who she was because I promised back then not to repeat this until or tell her name associated with the story, I should say. But she was telling me, hey, man, I could tell you something really juicy about Willie Nelson or about one of his security guards. And I said, oh, wow, you've got me intrigued. What's up, man? Because at the time I was hosting a radio show in Bloomington, Normal, Illinois called The Church of Rock, which is still on Sunday nights, actually. But this was a Monday through Friday radio show. And she knew I was a radio guy that liked to hear like inside gossip and all the dirt on the music business. She said, see that guy right over there? And it was a real big guy, like 6 foot something with a big beard and long hair that looked like the kind of guy you didn't want to mess around with on a bad day. You know what I'm saying? Or probably even a good day. She said, he's either the head or one of the heads of Willie Nelson's security guards. And I thought she said he was like the head guy. Now, don't quote me on that part. But I do remember this, and Tracy was with me when this happened, so it wasn't just me having a bad memory. She said, that guy right there that looks all scary used to be in the Hells Angels. And I'm like, really? She said, yeah. Do you know the name Meredith Hunter? And I said, Meredith Hunter. Actually, I do. Isn't he the guy that was like unalived? Oh, God, I said it. He's the guy that was unalived at the infamous Rolling Stones Altamont show. That was made immortal in the Gimme Shelter movie and all that. And she said, yeah, that's who Meredith Hunter is. Remember, he was taken out by one of those Hells Angels. I said, yeah, that was a grim bummer thing to hear about. And that was a whole bad vibe back then for Mick and the boys. And it's a very hard to watch film almost. It's a trip, man. It's Meredith Hunter. She said, that guy there is the one that did that to him, like unalived him. I was like, you got to be kidding me. She goes, I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth. Just don't ever put my name associated with that story if you ever tell that on the radio or something like that. So I never have told her name. But I can tell you she was very close to the Willie Nelson family. And I can tell you this, man, that was a shocking thing to hear. A very shocking thing to hear. So I don't know. Anybody know anything about that from the Willie Nelson crew? And that's not something that I'm putting on Willie. I'm just thinking he hired like some badass like Hell's Angel to like make sure that nothing happened to him, you know. And I don't know. I've never verified this story with anybody, but I've always kept that story to myself, except for one time when I told it on the radio. Now that night, finally, Tracy gave out. It was freezing. She goes, I'm going in, man. So she marches in the Civic Center Theater, leaves me out there. I kept thinking, man, I don't think I can hold out much longer. His band is on stage just like, 100 feet away behind the door right there on the stage, vamping. Like the band is playing, dun, 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 dun. Like they're warming up and like Willie can walk on in any minute, strap on his guitar and just do his first song real easy, right? So all these security guys are still telling me to get the hell out of there. And I'm like, nope. And by then, man, my lips are purple. They're blue. I'm freezing. And it was just like a nightmare because they wouldn't quit telling me, that I couldn't meet him. And you know what they did? Those guys formed like human barriers with like 3 or 4 people on this side of the door entrance to his bus and 3 or 4 people on the other side. So when Willie walked down, he had to walk between all these people. And therefore, they created like a human wall between him and me. And trust me, there was no one else left there at like 32 degrees after hours. And if there was, well, it had to have been very few people because I don't remember that. But what I do remember is when Willie Nelson walked off that bus and that band was vamping on stage, I said to Willie when I saw his black hat walk off the bus, I knew I only had one chance and I'd been out in that freezing cold for hours. I said, Willie, brother, I've been waiting out here in the freezing for about 3 hours, bro. Or something like that, and he immediately parted, like parting the Red Sea. Willie Nelson took his hands and parted some of those guys that were on the right side of his bus with the human blockade, and he walked right through them, and he walked straight over to me about 8 feet away and said, how's it going? And was super friendly, shook my hand, looked me in the eye. I told him I was a lifelong fan. I couldn't wait to see the show. He said, I'm glad you're here, my brother, or something like that. And I said, can I get a quick photo? He said, absolutely. And he was completely patient. He wasn't PO'd that I was there. He wasn't like feeling like I was stalking him. He was awesome because he knew I was the real deal. I'd been listening my whole life, and he knew. No one's going to stand out there in the freezing cold like an idiot with blue lips for, to meet Willie for what, 30 seconds? But he did. We took a great photo, which is on my Instagram, bloodyf.mess. And Willie had his long hair, braided in ponytail. What do you call them? Pigtails? Yeah, the long braided pigtails. And he had on this awesome black hat with the black, like almost beads around it, and it said Willie Nelson in red lettering, and I think it said Luck or Lucky Texas with some kind of little emblem. But that photo is on Instagram. It was really cool because he was super humble and like was just like almost happy, genuinely happy to see this like hippie rock country guy standing out there waiting to meet him, and was genuinely touched by it. I was touched that he took the time to do it, and boy was I cheesing during that photo. I actually had my reading glasses on and I looked like a complete dork. But Willie, he looked so cool in that photo, man. And that was like something on my bucket list, was to actually shake Willie Nelson's hand. And now if I can't smoke with him, how about just at least a cool smoking picture with him? And I did get that, and I'm stoked that I did. Willie, of course, went on stage that night. Jody Payne was on guitar. Rest in peace to Jody Payne, who passed away in 2013. Longtime member of the Willie Nelson and Family band on guitar. Rest in peace to Sister Bobby Nelson, who was on piano. Willie's sister, who died a couple of years and maybe 2 months ago. And, of course, rest in peace to Paul English. When did Paul English pass away? I made some notes. 2020. So, wow. Now, most of those original family members are gone, but Willie is still alive and kicking, just like the tour suggests here that I went to. And I got to say, man, it was one of the coolest nights of my life to actually get to meet the legendary Willie Nelson. I did get the average set list that he was doing on that Live and Kickin' tour, and this is pretty much what he played that night, man. He came out and did Whiskey River, which is a Johnny Bush cover, for those of you people that are into trivia. Whiskey River, what a great one, man. Went right into Funny How Time Slips Away, which according to Willie is one of his favorite of his own songs. Then he did Nightlife, another one of Willie's own favorite songs. What a great classic, man. Beautiful songs. Good-Hearted Woman, Waylon Jennings classic that Willie covered with the family on that tour. Then he did Crazy. Crazy. You know, the song that he wrote for Patsy Cline and he got paid $50 for, and it's probably the biggest selling jukebox song of all time. Crazy. Huh? But Willie came to terms with that a long time ago, because back then he needed the money, and he said, you know what? I needed the bread back then, and it was good money for those days. So awesome. Willie Nelson has written so many, and he's one of America's most prolific songwriters, period. Georgia on My Mind, of course, he did, which is a Hoagie Carmichael and his orchestra cover. He did City of New Orleans, which is a Steve Goodman cover, which Arlo Guthrie kind of made famous too. Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, originally Elton Britt and the Sky Toppers did that song. It was a cover that Willie Nelson did. A lot of people might not know some of this trivia. On the Road Again, a big crowd sing-along. Again, that's the first time I saw Willie, was around the time that came out. And you gotta love On the Road Again. The lyrics are just perennial Willie Nelson about being on the road and the gypsy life and how your friends and music is your life. What a great song, On the Road Again. Mamas, Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys. What a legendary Waylon and Willie tune, which was originally done by Ed Bruce, for the trivia fans. And who doesn't love the Waylon and Willie album? Before I finish the set, here's some of my Willie Nelson albums, by the way. Ooh, here's the classic Waylon and Willie album. I got this the year that it came out. Yeah. Another great Willie Nelson album, the greatest hits there. And my favorite, I think, next to the Waylon and Willie album is Stardust by Willie Nelson. I love Stardust. What a beautiful, beautiful album. Also, the rest of the night, they did Mamas. They did Angel Flying Too Close to the Ground, which is one of those tearjerkers, man. It's one of those Willie Nelson songs that'll kind of like, I think Sarah McLachlan has a song called Angel as well that's, ooh. You know, I've heard it played at, certain loved ones' funerals, that kind of song that's really touching. And Angel Flying Too Close to the Ground is another one of those songs that could be played at a variety of different events. And it's just one of the most prolific, profound, beautiful songs ever written. Willie Nelson, Angel, Flying Too Close to the Ground, if you like a good tearjerker. And of course they did You Are Always on My Mind, which was a Gwen, I have made a note here on that one, Gwen McCrae cover, Gwen McCrae. And yeah, that's most of the songs they did. I think there was probably more that night, but that was the average set list for the 2003 Live and Kickin' Tour with Willie Nelson, November 9th, 2003 at the Peoria Civic Center Theater. The great Willie Nelson. There he is right there. Yeah, man. Are you hip to Lucas Nelson, his son? We've been really getting hip to him the last few years. And man, that guy is awesome. Lucas Nelson rules. Yep. Of course, you know, dogs rule too. Thanks for checking out my video, you guys. Long live Willie Nelson. We're all glad he's still doing music. I believe he'll do it till the day he doesn't do it anymore. My friends, thanks for being here. Again, please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Shout out to Scotland. Haha. Cheers, my friends. Catch you on the flip side.